Eons ago, there was an IEM called the Truthear Hola, or as some people would like me to pronounce it, the Truthear Hola. It was an absolutely legendary IEM who came during a time where $20 IEMs were all the rage and everyone wanted a piece of that pie. And even amongst all the competition, the Hola was still one that really stood out. It was one of the better built $20 IEMs at the time and came with an not terrible cable, which at the time was something actually notable. It also came with detachable cables, but more importantly, it sounded great. If you ask people at the time what their favorite $20 IEM was, chances are that most of them would have replied the Truthear Hola. It was an absolute masterpiece by Truthear. It was their third IEM and also the third IEM that they had that had gotten critical acclaim. And then all of a sudden, it disappeared. It was discontinued. You couldn't buy a Hola anymore. And from there, thousands of voices clamored out for the return of their fallen hero. Truthear was silent for a very long time, at least until very recently, where they finally released what could be considered as the sequel to the Hola. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk about the Truthear Gate, literally the gateway to the Truthear brand. As you all know, that since we're talking about this on the Hangout.audio channel, naturally it means that the Truthear Gate is critical approved. We sell it, we think it's great. But of course, the general questions on all of your minds is, why is it great? Why is the gate worth the price, even though again, it's just $20? First of all, let's talk about the non-audio stuff, considering that it is actually one of the more crucial aspects in an IEM of this price bracket. So the biggest difference between the Hola as well as the gate is in its build quality. The Hola was lauded for having one of the best builds in a $20 IEM. It was a resin shell, but also came with a full metal faceplate. It had heft. It had weight, and it felt far more premium than its price tag would suggest. Now, comparatively speaking, the gate is a significant step down. And I completely understand from an engineering and costing perspective. For $20, you don't have a lot of leeway when it comes to material cost. And at some point, I was even questioning whether or not Truthear was even making money with the Hola. Because how could you make something so premium feeling for a price that is probably less than a fancy lunch? So in contrast, the gate is something that I would more expect out of a $20 IEM. It is made out of plastic that feels cheap, probably injection molded at some point, and just feels cheap, which is not knocking it because it is cheap. It's only $20 and people need to understand there's only so much you can do at that budget. So yes, you're not gonna get the same kind of build as you got from the Hola, but the cable still remains the same. And let me tell you, at least from the $20 price bracket, this is probably one of the better cables that I've seen thus far. Many people have praised the Hola for having one of the best stock cables in the budget scene, and I am of the same opinion. This is a cable that wouldn't be out of place on a $100 IEM, $200 IEM. Hell, I have seen $300 IEMs with worse cables than this one. Accessories wise, it is as you would expect out of a cheap set like this. That's not much. It's fairly simple. Get your IEM, your cable, some tips, as well as a leather carrying case, which is less case and more like a pouch, but completely understandable at this budget. So with the non-audio stuff out of the way, let's talk about the more controversial aspect around the gate. The sound. The simple way that I can describe this is that the gate is to the Hola like how the True 1 is to the True 2. Compared to the Hola, the gate is very clearly more emphasized in the upper registers. It sounds brighter, it sounds more sparkly, if you will, and some would say would sound a bit more sibilant as well. It is a different flavor compared to what is usual at this price bracket. So if you're someone who prefers the Moondrop True 1, for example, then the gate is probably right up your alley. Me personally, however, I think I still prefer the likes of the True 2, the Oneer, the 02, for instance. These are the IEMs that are warmer and less bright compared to the gate, and to some people, they might think that this would translate to something that's muddier. But to me, the gate is just a little tad overemphasized in the upper registers and so comes off as a bit shouty, again similar to that of the Moondrop True 1. But that's the thing, right? Just because it's brighter doesn't mean it's necessarily worse. I may not prefer it, but someone else would probably appreciate that increase in the upper registers. They want something with more clarity. They want something that is much more incisive in the upper registers. They would probably like something like the gate. Competition within the $20 space is indeed fierce, and I think the fact that the gate decides to go for a slightly different kind of tuning, a slightly more bright kind of tuning, does give it at least a differentiating factor within the market. So now let's talk about the shoulds and the shouldn'ts. Why should you consider buying a Truthear gate? First of all, it's relatively cheap. It's under 20 US dollars. So if you're someone who can afford pissing away that money, well, the Gate is probably one that you can just try it, and if you don't like it, well, just pass it on to someone else. Second, consider the Gate if you're someone who's leaning towards a brighter kind of signature, someone who prefers more treble rather than more bass. Again, this is a signature that is better than the original Moondrop 2 and leads me to my third point, it also has detachable cables. And lastly, if you like waifu, because it's Truthear. Now, why shouldn't you consider a Truthear Gate? Well, first of all, it's with its sound signature if you don't like something that is bright leaning. If you're someone who prefers a more warmer / bassier signature, then consider the Tangzu 1Er, the 7Hz 0, both 01 and 02, as well as the True 2, all of which that we do sell at hangout.audio, link is down in the description, so there is no conflict of interest. And lastly, if you're someone who wants something that is more substantially built, because let's face it, again, this is a $20 IEM. It looks like a $20 IEM, it feels like a $20 IEM, and at this point, the fact that it has detachable cables is not even a plus point in this market anymore. But hey, don't take my word for it. Why not try it out for yourself at The Hangout? You're located at 29B Moore Street, level 3 at... Don't listen to Old Chronicle, we have moved. Now we are located at 200 South Bridge Road in Chinatown on the ground floor. So you can come to our new location, grab a cup of coffee or even a cup of ice cream, try it out for yourself, and then form your own opinions. Just want to make this small change clear here, so back to you, Old Chronicle. But if you're someone who's not privileged enough to be in Singapore, then want to come on down to hangout.audio, our online retail store. We ship globally and for free for orders over 30 US dollars. This is Chronicle for the Hangout.audio channel, and remember kids, if it's not on the list, it doesn't exist. See you next week.